Let's go on with the parts. So, I am here. We have made these 5 parts, and I want to go with the tongue padding. If you see it, it's the same. It uses the same boundary. So what we want to do is open it up and see, and then we can create a new part that is exactly the same. So now we can edit and see tongue padding. And you can see it's the same. It is useful because you can print 2 different parts like this, but with maybe different elements on the inside. All right, this is how to duplicate a part basically. And again, in Rhino, in Jevero, a line is a line, so it is the same line for both parts. So if we edit one, let me see this, the margin will edit, the mirror will edit, everything will move according to what you've built. So it's important that you remember this function, this way of constructing a part, and of course it's the same line for both these parts, so it will be the same edit when it comes to a different part. So if you need to edit only this but not this, you will have to create a second line. So let me Control Z this. You can duplicate this and or I use Control D, but you can also duplicate an existing entity. So take the margin, duplicate. Now there are 2 margins. This is 149. So I'll use this. And let's say I want to see here, I also have 2 lines. So I will have to select this, select both lines like this, and go over to the padding. So now I have one line that has this boundary associated and one that has nothing. This is boundary 105. I want to duplicate this boundary as well. All right. And now I can edit. For example, I can take this margin or this line, excuse me, edit it, make this edit, and then move the dependency to that other line. I will do this later more specifically and in a better way, but this is how you want to proceed when editing a part. Now I duplicated a lot of things, so I'll just go back. Here I go through what I've done. So I'm good like this. And let's create another part. So the padding is this line, so it's a little different. And So we're going to create a new part like this. Maybe bring out, excuse me, this. And let's say we want to use this line of the lateral to create a line, a padding that uses this line instead of this. So I'll take this boundary, I'll press Shift and add all these lines, and then I'll isolate so I can work better. I forgot the axis, so let's grab the axis as well and isolate again. Now I can mirror this. All right. And I can duplicate this boundary. Now this is the last boundary I've created. I can edit, take out this, and add. And I want to grab the last boundary I've created, edit. So now I'll select this part, whatever I need. And it's going to be here, just under the lines that are duplicated. So I'll say bring to front. And I can use this. So now I can create a new part that is different and uses the same lines, just with a little edit. So to edit a boundary, or maybe a couple of lines in a boundary, you can duplicate and then move around. So let's go on with the part creation. We are here, we want to create this telaio interno part. All right, so let's go back to Rhino. I have my shell, and we see first thing that we're missing this line here. So I need to bring back my master layer, whatever you want to call it, select the line that we're missing and add the shell. So now we have it here. Now what we can do is, select the lines and isolate them just for the sake of being clearer. This is my part with the generating lines toggled. I want to create a margin here that is 1.5. So I'll say 1.45, whatever. Then create a margin from here that is 10. This is all right. I'll select this, and this line, plus this for the markers, also this one, and this because I will need to create an extra margin. So let's see how much this is. Double click, it's 12. So I'll create it the same way. See, right, 12. We see that we need this line only for the markers, so it doesn't matter here, it doesn't close. We will now create the boundary. So, boundary tool. This is the margin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is more or less I think it's exactly the same, but yeah. I'll create a new part and press OK. Now I'll activate my part and grab the margins, the markers, excuse me, and create the markers. I'm using right click, left click. So now what I'm doing is right click to apply the last command I used. So once I right click, I'll say create multi-marker. Then left click to select the line because the command is telling me to do so. Then select with the cursor the point on the line that I want to start my marker from. Then again, this is only click, whatever, excuse me for that, and press OK. With the tutorials, and we're going to create a couple more parts. So let's go on with this padding for the heel. Go in our model currently going. Let's see, this is made from, okay, this, and this axis. So I will pick the parts that I want. Probably it's this axis actually. And yeah, from here we can isolate, which is the most convenient thing in my opinion to do. We're going to mirror these and this. Again, I'm using the Rhino commands, so with the right click you can repeat the last command you used. Now we have mirrored everything. We're going to create our part. And there it is. Here we have a smooth line, but in case it's a little more angle, you can put a smooth corner, or you can create a line and that touches. Both parts and then unite it like this. It's fairly simple to just correct these things, and we're going to bring to front. And we're going to put a notch here. So I'll pick this and the axis, isolate, and select the notch, just one notch. Pick the intersection, flip, select the shape, just say this is 2, yeah, more like this. And now we create a new part. All right. Yeah. Works like this. Okay. Create a new part. Maybe this one, which is a little more difficult. So we'll try to keep things as simple as possible. So the bottom bar here. Okay, so now I have added the boundary to the shell, but I can remove it easily. And now I can pick my shell and select this bunch of lines, these two, these two. Okay. and the, oh, now I'm going to select just these, and then I'm going to create a margin. So we'll select this. What is this? It's a 12 margin. So let's do it. Margin 12. Okay. Yeah. And as always, I forgot the axis. So I will need to have this one. So I'll add it to the selection and then isolate again. Now pick the green lines, so select by color, mirror, and this one I will mirror as well. I notice now that this is my line that I want to be the same over here, so we'll mirror this one too. All right, so let's make the boundary. It is this, this, select this one, and this one. All right. Of course, I have made this mistake again, but I created, it's not the same. Oh, I need to do this little thing. Okay. So I will take the chance of this mistake to show what I can do. So I can select this line that I forgot, double click on the part and bring it with me in the part. Now I want to activate the part and activate the generating lines. Now I'm in a situation where I can take this and mirror it and then grab the boundary and go over here, edit. You can apply any shortcut to this and then correct like this. All right, this is looking better. Now I have also the stabs. So what I can do is create a line that I know will be on my scan and use the stabs here and say number 2, and here they are. And of course mirror. I forgot to activate the part, so I'll take everything, I'll grab these and add to the part. And this is my piece. I also need these markers. So activate. You know, I have these already set up, so I can mirror this as well. So I have the medial part, then grab the multi-marker and start tracing my markers like this. I want them to be 0, offset, and I can do the same here. And I'm good. Now this is my piece completed. It's fairly quick. and I think that also showing how you can make up for some mistakes is as useful. So if you forget something, you know, you can also see this kind of situation. You can also always edit the part and rename, and there is also a option here this, in which you can rename all the parts quickly, so that part 7 X, just to show ABC, heel, no idea of what this is called in English, I just say 1, and then when I press OK, it will edit all the names all together. All right, so we are ready to see the basics of grading. And remember that if you need any assistance or want to know more, there is the help panel, there is our community, which I will open now. This website, community.jeveropattern.com, you can register and ask all the questions you need, and and interact with other users that are also using Jevero. Also on our YouTube channel, this is where you will find other videos like this. Of course, you can search for Jevero on the YouTube search bar, and you will have a whole channel of videos. Now we're going to see some grading. Before we actually see all the grading part, section of this video, we're going to take a look at the toolbars and give a brief explanation of what the buttons do. So I'll cover that too. So this is pretty clear. Draw. This is to edit the curve, but also double clicking on a curve will make you edit. And you can pick in the options which style you prefer of editing. Edit points with preview, it's more of like crisping, it's more like a crisping workflow, and gives you also the option to convert corner points to round points fairly quickly, only by activating the edit control points with preview. All right. These are to add corner points or points on a curve. So just to add one point to a curve. Rhino might move it a little bit inside the curve because it needs to place a point in a certain place in order to keep the structure the same. So these are fairly important. Split and trim. Trim is to trim a curve. So if you, for example, select these lines and then select this, it will cut until this point here. And then split is to split a curve. So for example, these now are 3 separate lines, and join is to join and make one line. Fairly simple. Just remember that with join, you will need the end of a curve be exactly the beginning of another curve. So Let me just Control Z this. Now these are together. If this is like this, let's say, this will not work. They will need to be on the same point. So for example, you can move, grab the object and move it with the snaps. And now this you can join. All right. This is the chain analysis. It opens a panel in which it tells you the errors inside a certain boundary. So for example, this, it says to me it's not correctly closed. And I will need to see where the issue is. All right, it was here. And then it will refresh and delete the error listed there. This is to scale objects or scale in one dimension. So it's very simple. If you scale like this, you pick a reference point and then make it bigger or smaller. You can also say 5 and make it 5 times smaller, or you see scale factor, you can say 20 and it makes it 20 times smaller, and this will let you pick a direction and will scale the object only in this direction. Create a boundary, spring a curve, which is also doable with Rhino instruments. For example, if you have a curve that you need to spring like this, my favorite option is to activate the points, grab the points you want, and then rotate. This is the easiest, quickest, and more stable option. Boundary, notches. If you cascade, you can edit the notch, which is also doable with this button, and make multiple notches. So if you select this and pick distance, you can pick as many as you want. There's also the possibility of creating notches on intersections. And also, the general editing tools, which can also be used in this panel here that I have down under my toolbar. If I make a single notch, for example, like this, say distance pick, whenever you select a notch, this will update with the entity that you've selected, so you can flip it quickly here. Mirror, these are options. Create a new mirror line, and yeah. In the boundary options, there is a bunch of additional options. Change the axis for this is for the mirror. I probably accidentally moved it. That's fair. That's all right. Of course, you can do this by doing this. Now it should be, oh, it went down here. Well, you can edit the toolbar as much as you like. You can add the notches to the boundaries. And I'll use this chance to show you also the boundary Boolean. So if you have simple boundaries, you can also select a bunch of lines and just highlight the area where you want the boundary to be, and hit right click without selecting the lines one by one. We can add the notches to the boundary, and yeah, it will add all the notches. Marker, multi-marker. Very simple. These are all the options. These are all the options available to edit and make the markers as you like. Margins, make sure to check this. That is the grips. So if you use this, you can grab a point and change the offset of a point, which you can also, of course, add. Now there are 3 offset points. I'm going just very quick, assuming if you watch the previous videos, this you should already know, so I'll just be quick for a refresher. If I use my marker, I can update this and move it, and then select smooth. Yeah. I'll activate the grip. Yeah, like this. So these are the chains. If you use the crisping, this is your territory. It works the same as crisping. These are the stabs. There is also the stab on an intersection, so you can select 2 lines and the stab will stay there. So if you edit a line, the stab would move accordingly. Constraint stabs, and decorations are like stabs, but with the shape that you select. So it replicates a line on another line. All right, GIMP line, it's the same, but it works in a way that it places on the line the starting point, the end point. You see, it begins and ends, and then it begins again. Okay. Corner points, fairly easy. Fairly easy idea. It's just a round corner that you can double click on and edit if you need to make an edit. Now this, you can use the boundary Boolean and it will create a boundary. But also, let's say you create a boundary normally like this. When you create it, it says add notch and add smooth. So we'll say yes and no. This will be corrected. But yeah, when you edit, you can place the line. You can select the corner and edit. All right. Average curves, not very used, but you can create one average curve. And this will keep its averageness if you edit the lines. And this is for multiple average curves. So yeah, you can select the number. Yeah. And still it will keep the average and the number like this. All right, so here we have save, open, new, all that, print. So you can print in PDF. Here you can open the options. This will show this here. This will import the scanned data. This is a table that you can specify all your information. import and export so you can share it and have it across various models. And then you can place it on a model. And if you update, it will update. Easy. This is to change the colors to your default colors. So if you go on the options and change any of these colors and you get a model from someone else who is using Jevero with different colors, you can just click on this bucket and it will change all the entities colors to your colors. So it will be easy to get comfortable inside a new model or a model you haven't ever seen. Select parent entities. This is a function that I use a lot, excuse me. It will select any type of entity across the model. So if you, for example, select this and then select a margin, it will select all the margins. If you select a marker, it will select all the markers, etc. And it works also with the baselines. So for example, you want to only see your shell and your baselines, you can use this, which I have always here, and then isolate. And now I have basically my shell with just the baselines. So, show everything. This is always for the selection options. This is to move a dependent object to another. So you can see that we can move the notches around like this. It is useful, for example, for lateral and medial. If you have to make a modification on a line that has a lot of things, then you need to draw a new line which is different. You can create that line and move everything to the new line from the old one. Edit, it's a generic edit for every entity, every line. Partialization, sure you have seen this before, it's just shortens a line. Duplicate an existing entity, which is also, we have seen. Copy an object with its dependencies. You see, you copy the object and it will copy together all the dependencies. So it's convenient for you to recreate a line easily. So convert to baseline. So we'll convert any line, any margin to baseline. This will make a separate video on it's a border template, so you can apply the borders to borders, any type of preset that you create, measurements, a measurement on a curve, which will place the measurement, but you can hide it, you can delete it, just it will be useful to have the points around so that you know that from this point to this point it's X length. Select all unused baselines. So this is to, for example, see entities that are not in parts. So when you clean up your model, maybe you have worked a lot on it or more people have worked on it. It is always useful before going further to have a cleanup, you know. So this is for that purpose. Select a line and the generating lines. So very easy. This is to extend a curve. make sure to select first the button and then the line so that you can pick on a side and it will extend it. Move objects. It's pretty powerful because you can pick the point and pick the second point. So you can place objects precisely. This is not precise. This moving, yeah, it is. Rotate, same. You can pick the object, you can pick the starting point, the rotation, and the second point. So if you need to rotate from here, you get the idea. You also have the option to copy. So if you say yes, you can create multiple lines that are rotating and have this center. Not sure if it has any use, but it is an option. Rebuild. For example, let's say you create a margin and you convert it to baseline. Now this is a baseline, but it has many more points than what the original baseline has. So you can select it and rebuild it and say, I want 4. 4 it's a little too little. Let's say 6. I'm pretty sure it's the same as here. And yeah, now it has less points and the same shape. So the less points, the more beautiful the curve will be. Entity filter over here. It will take all the entities and make you lock them or unlock them so that you can see the things below. And of course you can show you only want to see the baselines. This is another option. You want to see the baselines and the margins. You get the idea. It's a convenient tool for visualization. This is the grading panel that we're going to see. Parent properties, pretty useful as well. You see, you can edit the margin and say 9, and it will change to 9. I probably made a mess right now, but I just undo with Ctrl Z. You can flip. And yeah, that's that. Now we're going to see the grading. So we have our shoe with the whole parts, all the parts that, yeah, we've made a few of them. You might need more in a shoe actually, but we are satisfied with this and we can go on with the grading. So for the grading, we are going to work with this. Let me just create more space here. And this as well. With the JPattern grade function, toolbar on top here, and with the pattern grading panel that is here. So first of all, we are going to create a grading table. To do this, we are going to select the grading table over here and select a grading style, let's say, that you can create, and you can save your specific grading style and save it and use it again. So here you can select sample size and increases in sizes. So my sample size will be 42 here, and the increase will be 1. I can put 0.5, I can put 0.75, whatever you need. Then here I can select the range of the sizes I want to work on. So I can say, for example, 38 to plus 4, 46. Okay. You can give a name to the sizes. And here you can select the length and the width. So you can pick, I'll keep this number just to keep it. You can pick the length like this and set the increase as you prefer. I will just, for convenience, I will put the regular number, but yeah. This is the upper, and then if you've created a strobel and applied the property of the strobel, you will be able to set the increases for the sole as well. So let's click OK, and it's going to generate my grading table. Clicking here, you can see the actual sizes, length and width for all the sizes. And if you edit this from here, let's say you want 433, say you want 434, and press enter, this will be edited. So you can intervene also over here. Now that we have the grading table, I'm going to just, for a better, for seeing better, I'll just select this part, or maybe this tongue here, and then go over to the grading over here. The first button will open the menu that will let us see the sizes. Let me just go back a little bit. When you create a table, it will create a GC upper, which is the grading center placed in the center of my model. So I can just grab it and bring it with me with the tongue. That's fine. And I can see the various sizes. And if you take a look, you can see highlight the sample size. So if you pin, you will be able to see the sample size highlighted. You can show the base curves and show the generating lines if you want to. Excuse me. You can hide the sample size because it will always be visible. And then you can pin. So for example, I say, I want to see the biggest and the smallest. And now I can see them like this. You can layout them if you wish to make any measurements. You can, of course, stack, which is more interesting. So place the grading on a specific point, the graded sizes to a specific point, so that you can compare them in various positions. So for example, I want it like this. And now I know that they're all on this place, and I can, for example, take my measurement here and say, okay, this is 8.163. This is 8.28, for example. You can make all these types of measurements also on the line, so on the curve, and you can measure on a curve also. Sorry. I will find it now. Well, here, I'm blind. It will highlight the same point here across all the grading. So it will show you also, which is the same position, more or less. I'm sorry for taking that time and just getting a little confused here with the icons, which I don't remember all of them. So what we can do is create new grading centers. So creating new grading centers will let us grade specific parts of my shoe in a different way. So for example, I want this, and I'll toggle the generating lines, and then say, for example, okay, this, I will assign this curve to this grading center and give it a different increment, for example. Now we'll close it. I'm not doing that, but you can create different grading centers with different rules and different increments. For example, if you're working with boots, in which the leg part grades differently from the shoe part, actually. You can put grading centers on intersections with the right click here. You can edit a grade center. And something that is also useful is the creation of groups. So if you have a logo, if you have a space for a logo that you need to be the same across the grading, you can, let's say here, we have this space is a logo. It's added here, and I want to go over the grading, create a group. I call it logo. Okay, and it will go over here, and I will, for example, say, okay, this from 40 to 42, it will be like 40. And from here to here, it will be like 44. So now I'll go over to the group editing and group management panel, assign the curves, these four, and say, okay. Now when I grade, I just untoggle the generating lines. Okay, I'll pin and stack. These are only three gradings, because that's what the group was told to do. All right. And of course, the sample size one. This is the group creation. You can remove groups. You can save and share the grading tables. You can apply size codes. So let's get out of this. This is my size code. And you can manage size codes from the options. Here you can select all the size codes to apply and give different radius, width, height, etc. And then here on the code you can write AAR. Okay, press enter and it will be changed. So now if I get the R, you see that width is very high. Let's make it a little smaller. I'll save and press OK, and it will get smaller. So you can manage them from here and give specific and custom sizes. So we'll go over a few functions in a bit. Another function that can be useful is the increment to multi-objects. So to be clear, I will create a new empty part. I will put some stabs and say 5. Now I have 5 stabs here. Just to be as fast as possible in explaining this, I will select the stabs and I will say, okay, I need one extra stab in number 46 and one less in number 38. So when we grade, yeah, this is not too clear, but let's say I want to do like this. It's going to be 4, these are going to be 6. So 4 and 6. All right. So now that we have our shoe, we want to export the file. So what we can do is save. Of course, now it's saved, but I want to save as if it's the first time. And I'll go over this folder and call it my shoe 1. So this is a 3DM file. This is what we work on. It's a Rhino file with a 2D data that we can open and re-edit again. If we want to export DXF or any other file, we can use this button in which we can find, excuse me, these formats here. This Rhino models is a Rhino file, but without all the elements of Jevero, so you can share it with people who don't have Jevero. This is for the Jevero costing tool, which you can find on YouTube. A little tutorial that explains this. HPGL, PLT for Satrasum machines, a PDF, Electro machine. We'll choose DXF, which is somewhat universal. Same folder, my shoe1.dxf. Here you have a configuration export that asks you what you want to export. So for example, now I have selected all the parts because this is what is visible. I can choose to export only these 2 parts and in these 2 numbers. I can select all and all. Let's say we want to select all, but in sample size. AAMA Crispin is one configuration of DXF. There's many, but also you can create your own with your own machine through this menu here. Let's say this is correct for me. You want to exercise codes, yes or no, or the print boxes, yes or no. I'll say yes, whatever. I haven't put any. I want to lay out parts and layout sizes. This is for some softwares that maybe calculate costs or whatever else. You can basically spread out the parts and not put them one on top of the other like this, but like it's going to be one piece here, one piece here, just to see them separately. You can do this for the sizes and for the layouts. Sorry, for the parts, excuse me. And I'll say OK. Now I'll go over here and let's open see what Jevero has done. I'm opening Rhino. I'll say OK to the import and here I have all my parts. That I can export to cutting machines. You see, the layout parts will be something like this, spread out. So yeah, this is how you export. You can check out all the different file formats, and with the different file formats you can export for different cutting tables. And if you need some support, you can always ask on the community. How to configure the export, or you can write to info.jeveropatent.com and we will reply with support if it's needed. All right. Of course, if you go on the community, there's other people who use Jevero who might be already able to help you. So there's not only going to be the Jevero team, but a whole community of pattern engineers. Okay, I think I can wrap this up. Thank you very much. This has been very long, and I hope I answered most of the questions, especially in the first part where I wanted to give more insight on how you work and how you can speed up your workflow in a more efficient way when drawing, when tracing, and when editing lines and parts. So thank you very much for the attention, and I'll see you in the next videos. I'll make for sure more tutorials, and if you have any requests, of course, I can make specific tutorials on how to do specific things. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.